My name is Courtney, and I was 23 years old when this happened. I worked at a McDonald's right near my house. In order to get to my house or to my work, you have to pass by a public park. I always carry pepper spray on me in case anything happens to me. I've been working at McDonald's for a few months now, and whenever I would work, I would always pass by the park, and nothing has ever happened until this one night. It was a Wednesday, I believe, and I had just gotten off from work. It was around 11 p.m. and I was starting to walk home. The reason why I walked from work to home is because my house is close by, so there's no need to drive. Anyway, while I was walking, I looked behind me for whatever reason, and I saw a man in all black following me. I thought nothing of it and just simply kept walking. I looked behind me once more, and this time, I could tell that he was walking a bit faster. I walked faster too, hoping that this guy would go away. I felt like he could put his hand on me at any moment, so I had my hand on my pepper spray just in case. And then it happened. I felt a hand cover my mouth and another hand grab my neck. I screamed and took out my pepper spray and sprayed the man in the eyes, and he fell to the ground. I ran home while the man lied on the ground screaming in pain. I finally came home and went inside almost out of breath. But unfortunately, it didn't end there. My parents weren't home, and when I went to look out of my bedroom window, I saw the man across the street looking right at me. He then ran off into the darkness, and I never saw him again. My name is Matthew, and this is the most horrifying experience I've ever had. This was something straight out of a horror movie. I lived in a rural town in California and worked at a local Domino's. I have to walk past some woods in order to get to my house. I've been working at Domino's since I was 17 and I am now 19. I have also been walking past the woods and nothing strange has ever happened to me. Until today. So my shift at Domino's ended at 7:30, a bit later than my normal time I get out. So I'm walking and I could see the woods maybe a few miles up ahead. Finally, I get to the woods and I'm on the side of the road. To get a better idea of where I was, imagine a road and trees on both sides. Now, there are barely any cars or people on the road at this time. Keep in mind that it's getting dark and you only have very little light, so it really added to the creepiness. Anyway, as I was walking, I thought I could hear something coming from the trees. I looked, but I didn't see anything. I continued walking when a rock was thrown at me and landed right in front of me. I then turned around and looked to the trees and I could see someone waving at me. It was dark, so I couldn't see who it was or how they looked. I asked, hey, do you need something? He responded in a loud whisper and said, hey, come over here. I want to show you something. I told him that I had to get home and that I couldn't be late. He responded saying, oh, don't worry, it will only take a second. I really need your help with something. I told him I'll help, but I only had a minute. He said a minute is all it will take. I took a deep breath and walked over to him. He said that he found a man-made hole dug in the ground and wanted to see what was down there and that he didn't have a light. I told him I would shine my light with my iPhone down there to take a look. Doing that was the biggest mistake I've ever done. I walked over and stood by the hole with the man behind me. Before I was about to shine the light, the man pushed me down the hole. I fell about 20 feet and landed on something soft. I started cussing and screaming at the man, but I didn't see him. I stood up and I could feel the soft thing I was on. I had to see what I was standing on. I shined the flashlight on my phone and shined it down. I felt like my whole world had been shattered. The light revealed the body. It was a naked woman who looked to be about 20, and she had been killed. She had cuts everywhere on her body. I stayed down there for a good half hour before finally managing to climb out and run home. I didn't tell my parents about what I saw. I only told a few of my closest friends. For a bit of background story. At the time, I lived in a city in a not so great area in South Texas. I was walking home from my friend's house since my mom wanted me home by 10. To get to my house, you have to go through a tunnel. I've been through the tunnel before, and nothing too strange has ever happened. I mean, you would see maybe some people doing drugs or something, but nothing too major. However, this night was absolutely horrifying. I was walking through the tunnel when I heard someone falling behind me. It was some guy. There were some dimly lit lights in the tunnel so I could see him. He then started to walk faster towards me, and when all of a sudden he came to my right and said, "Hey, you're really pretty, you want to hang out sometime?" This guy looked to be about 30, and I was 18 at the time, so I politely told him that I was only 18 and that I had a boyfriend. He responded and completely ignored what I said. He said, "So, can I have your number?" I told him no and to please leave me alone. He seemed to get the hint, and so he walked back. While I was walking, I could see the end of the tunnel that would turn onto my street. Then, I felt two hands grab around my neck and squeeze tight. I tried punching the man, and he let go of my neck and tried to grab my hands, but I managed to cut him with my pocket knife. He then fell to the ground and screamed in pain. I ran as fast as I could out of the tunnel and onto my street. I then lost him and walked to my house. When I got inside, I fell to the floor, bawling my eyes out. I explained to my parents and they called the police, but they couldn't find the guy. I now carry pepper spray on me, and my boyfriend sometimes walks with me through the tunnel. I haven't seen that man since, and I hope I never do.